Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Oh my God. Today is another big day, a huge afternoon, I might say. Today, we are sitting down with Brook, and he's tuning in from Los Angeles, California, where, yes, things are crazy, but things are crazy all around the world right now. And we're all just doing our best to keep our heads above water and actually thrive during these times, especially as chiropractors. So I hope you, your family are staying safe, staying healthy, doing everything you can to thrive during this time, because when there comes crisis, comes opportunity, and we hope here at the Legendary Chiropractor that you take advantage of anything that comes your way and any new doors that open up. So when we get back from thanking our initial sponsors, we are into the art and craft of chiropractic. We're going to talk a little bit about the yoga of chiropractic adjusting seminars, and we're also to just get some insight onto where he is and who he is and where he's coming from when he analyzes a spine, right? So if you're a hands-on person or you are early on in chiropractic school looking to get hands-on, this is the podcast episode that you should be listening to. So without further ado, we'll thank our initial sponsors. When we get back, we are going to break it down with Dr. Brook. We'll be back, everyone. Stay tuned. To Inspire Women is the elite boutique coaching company for chiropractors who are looking to live life and run business in a way that is personal, unique, and authentic. They focus on business systems and money mindset mastery so you can pay down debt, be more profitable, and serve more people. Their goal is to empower you to achieve a better way. Superior, cloud-based practice management software. CHIRO HD is a user-in-charge mission to help you run your practice like a boss. Learn more at chirohd.com. Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to totalclinicsolutions.com now. It's time that chiropractors look beyond spinal alignments and measured the nerve connections that keep our patients feeling strong and performing at their peak. CLA designed the Insight scanning technologies to transform exams and generate powerful reports that give practitioners the certainty they have been searching for. Learn how CLA has partnered with the world at insightcla.com. Of lifetime spinal care. To learn more about how spinal products work and download the patient education material for free. Again, that's spinalhygiene.co. Easily share your passion for chiropractic and look good doing it with Above Down apparel, offering a premium lineup of principled apparel that's impossibly soft, sustainably sourced, and chiropractic AF. Visit abovedown.co and follow them on Instagram to learn more and score yourself some sweet chiro swag. SKED is the all-in-one system that allows for amazing control and flexibility of your scheduling. Yes, your next new hire. Every aspect of when and where you service your customers is at your command. SKED is tightly integrated with your existing EHR system. This software was made by a chiropractor specifically for chiropractic. No joke. Go check out their latest care plan feature by heading to go.sked.life. Dr. David Tuhill is an anti plan. He will help you design specific products and processes that are both revenue and growth. He has previously worked with Jordan Rubin of Ancient Nutrition, Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson, and many, many others. Schedule your call with Dr. Dave today by heading to meetwithdave.com. Training the best adjusters on the planet. Syntropy has reverse engineered what the masters do naturally. From the energetics to the mechanics, they've hacked the code to shorten your learning curve on the road to masterful adjusting. To find a seminar near you, head to syntropychirotraining.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Sweet. We are back and officially live with Dr. Jeremy Brook. Doc, I am very excited to hear from you, have you on the podcast. I am thrilled, humbled, and honored to have you and host you. Again, I'm Johnny Reuter, your host, and today we're going to be breaking down the importance of the art of chiropractic before you have the virtual floor, where you from, and a little bit about your chiropractic and past. Go ahead.
There you go. Well, my chiropractic kicked off in 1981. I was 8 years old. And, I didn't go to a chiropractor because I had any specific health problems or didn't have any of the classic chiropractic issues that, maybe a young kid would see a chiropractic for, asthma, allergies, whatever. But we would go for just general wellness chiropractic visits. My dad became a huge fan of chiropractic. I think about a year before I was born, heard that chiropractor always sorted him out. So there I am in the hills in 81 getting adjusted for the first time as an 8-year-old, and I just fell in love with it. And at that moment, I was like, I need to become a chiropractor. And I had a couple other significant traumas throughout my lifetime, such as when I was 21 years old playing rugby, I got all smashed up at UC Irvine and ended up getting adjusted by a chiropractor who redirected life. And, I was on a crash course with chiropractic since 8 years old. So that's pretty much how it began. There's a longer version. That's a good.
I like it, Doc. And it's funny because I like taking people back in time a little bit, and going back all the way to 8 years young, right? And you're 8 years old. When you walk into that chiropractor, I was 13, right? When I walked into the chiropractor's office, I was like, this is what I have to do, right? It was my calling at that point, right? And some people say, it was your calling, or some people say you see this for but I firmly believe young have an impact on you. You are called to do things. I'm honored to be a colleague of yours in the profession with you. So without further ado, Doc, let's dive right in to the hot topic of today, and that's adjusting, right? And why it's so important. So why don't you start off with a little bit behind why adjusting and why the adjustment are so important for people to understand, and then we'll get into the art of it, okay?
Yeah, that's a great starting point. With regards to chiropractic, I think that we make things more complicated than we actually need to. We start trying to concepts, people shifting paradigm. But if you can get a person to lay face down, face up, in side posture, and you deliver a force into their body where that they can actually have this kinesthetic experience that shifts them, that moves them, that activates them to something within. There's nothing else on the planet that can actually replicate high velocity, low amplitude force into their system. In regards to we have that everybody else has is a force into a person's system that's pretty much accessing the central channel, their energy channel, their information superhighway. You can stick a needle at different points in the body through, let's say, acupuncture, or you could contact different marma points if you're doing Ayurveda. But there's something about putting a force into the body that's life-changing. And of course, there's degrees of force application. So you go good old deep structure adjustment. And they're all going to be powerful, but it's how you direct force to the body. If you're starting to play around with the spine, now we're in a whole other stratosphere.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that. And I like what you said at the very beginning is a lot of times we overcomplicate things. And I wanted to make a joke and, step in and say, no, we don't, not as chiropractors, right? We never do that. But we do. We oftentimes do, especially if you are, no matter what camp you're in, right? If you feel or medical, it doesn't matter. You're all part principles and such. And I a lot of patients from a chiropractor when they put it and say, either right up my alley, or this is so far from my alley that I want nothing to do with it. And I feel like there's got to be more middle ground there. Would you agree with that?
I do. And I tell you what, if you watch a video of somebody adjusting with the volume off, like you don't know what their philosophical orientation is, but you could watch how they approach the person, how they move with the person, and then ultimately, the force that they're putting into that body. Is it honoring? Is it some type of harness, if you will? Speed is it artistic? Is it pretty, or is it like, God, am I about to watch a murder on video?
Yeah.
So
talk to us a little bit about why the art. Now we're going to get into the specifics here. Why is the art of chiropractic so important? Because we are built on a three-legged stool. You got the philosophy, you got the science, and you got the art. But why is that art so important? And oftentimes, especially in school or even out of school, you can touch on both, are oftentimes overlooked, right? So talk to us about why it's so important to hone in on your craft.
Yeah, there are different stages with regards to artistry. You start out as like a rookie. You start out as from you're getting all from you evolve into refined, and keep going, and then that craftsman turns into an artist, and then if you keep playing the game long enough, maybe you're an enlightened healer, if you will. Now, again, for everything or any discipline, there's this art form to it, and it just depends on, like, if you want to prepare sushi for somebody, you can just throw a big old fat fillet of salmon on a person's plate, or you can, prepare that fish just so beautiful, like just watching a sushi chef prepare some sushi, prepare a roll, just so artistic. You're not just playing the game of or entering into the art of chiropractic just to be an artist. Like, what's the point? Ultimately, if you're going to be delivering, and you'll hear it from me, it's a lot of the game for me is about force going into a system. Mm-hmm. Well, how can you harness a very specific, a very fine, a very art, but it's kind of degrees of specificity. It's like in the beginning, a mark or a hunter, if you will. Maybe you got a bazooka in the beginning, then a rifle, and then a machine gun, and then after a while you got a little bit of a sniper, or maybe like a bow and arrow, and now you're starting to play with other variables like wind and movement and stuff like that. So we're just playing the game for specificity to get into the system. And most people, they want to be artists. They want to be like black belts straight away, just graduating, from the get-go. And that's almost like it's too much pressure. That just respect the development of your art and understand that it takes it requires development. It requires a certain amount of time to get new perspectives, to develop new neuromusculoskeletal patterns and refinement. So I think that students just need to recognize that, look, there's a certain range of skill that, in their school, and do your best. You don't expect to be out of school 3.5 at the level of somebody who's been at school. I've been out for years. Right now, I know I cut my bio pretty short, but, don't expect to be at my level after 20 years, especially if I'm playing the game and training like a psychopath, obsessive, compulsive madman to make sure my adjustment is dialed in. So just do your best, if you're slacking off while you're in school, you're not developing your skills. You're going from a technician to a craftsman to in an organized programmer. Look, you got to start at the beginning, max it out, come 3 years while you're in school, be the best that you can be. Just know that over time you're going to start getting into different levels of craftsmanship before you get into higher levels of artistry, before you get into deeper levels of mastery. And for me, like, I don't even care. I'm just playing this game. I almost feel weird when people, go master, I'm like, yo, I'm a student,
right?
And that's how I approach this game. And downloads, to make this effortless and make this better connected, like the Windows refinement going like every single day.
Yep.
So I think the student, if there's a student on, that's watching this, yo, chill out. If you're in school, you don't have to be the greatest chiropractor who ever walked the face of the earth when you graduate school. That being said, bust your butt. Unfortunately, you got to go to different seminars outside of schools. Some schools will prepare you better than others with regards to the technique that then moves to levels of craftsmanship. You can, while you're in school, yoke from your teachers, from all of those extra hours where you can do like adjusting labs under doctor supervision, so you can just get reps after reps after reps in. And then when you're in practice, that's why they call it practice. I mean, you don't want to be using your patients as guinea pigs or the people you serve as guinea pigs, but they call it practice. You're still refining your game.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it too, because I think it's important to understand time and energy go into all things. A student or a doctor, time, money, and energy advance you further, no matter if we're talking personally, professionally, educationally. It doesn't matter what sector of life we're in. It's going to take those 3 things at least, right? And you can break each one, I would argue, down even further. But when we talk about money and the art and the craftsmanship of chiropractic, what for is right. So going to chiropractic seminars, getting hands on as much as possible. Actually, just today at the Legendary Chiropractor, we launched a this morning that literally said, we're talking about things to develop early on in your chiropractic career, and hands-on is one of those things, right? Getting that proprioceptive skill down, getting that palpation down. Now, again, we're not telling you to adjust without a license, but we are telling you to get your hands on as many freaking spines as possible, because that's what it takes to be a great chiropractor. Would you agree?
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I went to college, UC, to get my chiropractic. I could just maybe not take that long route to get chiropractic. But I went through a biology, and the biological sciences were a great place to kind of like dive in, and I kind of like just lost my train of thought as I just saw this giant crow come down, grab a squirrel, and take off outside my window. Where were we going with that? Because I was just metal on Instagram right after. Time.
Yes.
We're talking about money. For a second.
Yeah, time, money, and applying that to become a great craftsman in the sense of going and attending seminars, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I know where I was going. So my thanks for bringing it back.
Of course.
My high school chiropractor told me while I was in college to go to massage school so that I could actually get some education with my hands. Right. So when I was in school and I became a therapist, so during that, I got my hands on, as many humans as I can get different chiropractic offices over the next couple years before I jumped into chiropractic school. Once I got to chiropractic school, I was like, muscles, I'm good. Like I had the muscular system dialed in. Skeletal anatomy, spinal anatomy, like learning about the bones, now we had to learn some new material. But I could not agree with you more that getting your hands on bodies, putting the just get comfortable with the hands on body. One thing that causes some anxiety with young chiropractors, they get so caught up with delivering that thrust and the impulse that they forget about some of the primordial steps with regards to grounding and connecting with people and really feeling more with their hands. And then as a chiropractor goes through their evolution, they actually realize that the advanced work is not so much in the thrust or the impulse or the listening, it's the softening, it's the waiting for the window impulse. And it's like, that's the game. Again, the whole game is always constantly feeding back on itself. But hands on, hands on, hands on. Couldn't agree with you more, Johnny.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from thanking these next couple sponsors, we are going to talk about what chiropractic students and doctors should be doing right now to be the best craftspeople they can be. We'll be back. Every chiropractic clinic needs a compliance program. If you are not sure what that includes or why you need one, Robin Consulting help you build chiropractic. If you are to get started, head to robin-hale.com and let Dr. Robin guide you end result. Dr. Christy Wick is revamping the landscape of women's chiropractic coaching. With a focus on connection and congruence, she's on a mission to empower lady DCs across the nation to create bold, successful lives and practices their way. Get started today by visiting theilluminatedsquad.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. All right, we are back, everyone. Welcome back to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just joining us, please go back, watch this from the beginning. Again, it's not for the views and the listens. It's so you can have the knowledge, the value, and the content that Dr. Brook is literally paving the way with for your success as an artist in chiropractic. So with that being said, Doc, let's talk a little bit about students. Let's put you back 20 years ago in the student's shoes and what you recommend chiropractic students be doing right now, starting either tomorrow to be the best adjusters they can possibly be.
Yeah. Look, right now, at this moment in time, we're experiencing like a renaissance in the chiropractic training movement. You know, like if you're not training with somebody right now, and there's a laundry list of people, whether you're in the U.S. Or in Europe, I don't know a whole lot what's happening down there. There's some fantastic seminars. Chiropractic culture right now has exploded. So if you're not training somebody, you got your head buried in the sand or somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to train. And, again, whether it's after hours, before you go to school, you got to get your hands on human beings. Preferably you do it through the school's channels where, again, you can have somebody watch you go through all of the steps, and you can put forces into people's bodies. I don't want to say anything that's going to get anybody in trouble, with regards to legality, but you got to get your hands on anybody. We had a table in our home at with other classmates. We had a table where like the come in down, like anybody who would come into our space within like 1 second, they were like face down. Music was turned up, and we were in our zone. We're not just talking about the technical aspect, the artistic aspect. You got to know your neurology too. This isn't a biological system. You use as the means to tap the inside. We're putting forces loads signals to affect their nervous system. So, you got to study the nervous system. And one person who I studied with did their entire wellness program, or their chiropractic, the Certified Chiropractic Wellness Practitioner Program, Dr. James Chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like there's so many people right now, you study what they're doing, what they're teaching, and you become somewhat bulletproof with regards to the neuroanatomy system, the neuro body. So it's like a structural, it's neurological, it's physiological, energetic. So you got to study people like Dr. James Chestnut, Certified Chiropractic Wellness Practitioner. If you don't have time to do his 4 modules, buy his 4 books. If you don't want to buy his 4 books, you buy his first book. It's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the way I look at it, like the philosophy and the science, like they almost blur for me, So you definitely, if you're interested in becoming like a well-versed chiropractor, you got to know the books are you dive into your past, your history, and who talks smack about chiropractic philosophy. I'm like, have you read one green book? And they probably haven't. Because if they read the green books, they would probably be blown away with regards to this incredible approach to life and health and healing and wholeness and vitality that you just can't argue with. So people who are anti-chiropractic philosophy, they just haven't studied the philosophy. It's kind of like fake news. They've been told to believe that the chiropractic philosophy is just from a vitalistic standpoint, healing standpoint, naturalistic standpoint. And again, kind of like go back, turn the volume off. It's not allopathic versus like a vitalistic, mechanistic, allopathic war. It just is. You cut something, it heals. You don't need to kind of like dock a certain philosophical paradigm on it. It's just friggin' life. It's just nature. But you got to make sure that you have some type of philosophical background. Now, not all of BJ's, this might get me in some hot water, but some of BJ's writings are somewhat abstract and a little bit confusing. You might read it and come back 7 years later, and 15 years later, maybe another 20 years later, and you're like, okay, now I understand. But there's other people who have written about chiropractic philosophy in a user-friendly manner. One of my favorites, if you're kind of still diving into the old school chiropractic roots, would be, Dr. Fred Barge.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred Barge has a nice way of communicating. But, if you want to get into circling back to like what would a person right now who's in school, you get together with classmates together, and you just get your hands on one, get your hands on one another, and you just really, and just put the thrust, put the force, put the input aside, and just kind of like read the body, see how the body wants to be moved, see what shapes you put the body in. You think everything is golden, and now you can actually feel the body go, I'm going to take a hard pass on that setup. So that's where you start cultivating your sensitivity. And, I came up in, started school in 1997. I discovered MLS, Dr. To our school, dropped a big time talk at lunch, and I was like, that guy's my teacher. And he had a seminar coming up back in the day, Making Love to the Spine. Now it's called MLS, Mastery Love Service. And I was like, what the heck is this? Making love to the spine sounded kind of foo-foo-y and fluffy, but I understood like it's a way of honoring a person. And it was just, there's nothing kind of like fluffy about it. It was about becoming a master. When you touch somebody, you're coming with a place of respect and trust. So, that was kind of like the base of my system. For years, as far as like other tremendous and other people that really shifted me, and I think he's like one of the best people for helping young chiropractors develop their practices, a guy named Dr. Fred Schofield. And the thing I love about Dr. Fred, mochichew.com, shout out to Dr. Fred, is Dr. Fred's like he's definitely slants toward the metaphysical realm, but he's situational, and he's also not afraid to talk symptoms. And I know, like, if you say symptomatology as a straight chiropractor, you're about to get knocked out, get jumped. If you pain or symptom, like, those are like fighting words. Like, you can't talk symptom or stuff like that. And I think that has like a nice, elegant way of communicating like signals and body expressions in a way that doesn't make you sound like a freak. Like when you come with this hot disc and radiating pain, your testicle, and and you're like, I don't deal with pain. I'm just here to connect spiritual man to physical man and remove the interference from your nervous system. Like, all good. How can we kind of like close the gap and still be kind of like congruent with a vitalistic within the realm of symptomatology?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
we can keep going. We can talk for another. Like, what else? Like, first thing in the morning, like, look, you gotta sharpen the tool, with regards to your morning practice, your daily practice. You've got to get your life structured. While you're in school, you can set the system up. Of course, your nutrition, the food intake should start becoming on point. You should become like a little bit of a scientist right now, exploring different ways that you could hack into your physiology to optimize your function, because after 3.5 years you get that diploma, you get that shingle, and now people are coming to you. They're asking for wisdom, they're asking for guidance. So you got to be able to make sure that you're walking the talk. Like, you got to represent, you got to be able to deliver the goods, and then you got to spit some wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you explore all of those areas.
Yeah, 100%. I think you did a great job, and I actually took like 3 key takeaways. Number 1 would be to get hands-on, right? We talked about it already so much in this episode, and get hands-on meaning palpate. Like Dr. Jeremy was saying, you can remove the force, you can remove the input. Know that you'll get there, right? And if you're doing it in school, great, do it in school. If you're going to seminars, go to seminars, right? Whatever works for you. But you gotta get hands-on. You gotta, like he said, find other obsessed students and put each other in a room and start understanding and connecting with one another on a spinal level, right? And realize where things are going. Go ahead, Doc.
I was going to say there's one more thing.
Go for it.
And that has to do with communication. I know I kind of got a little bit more technical. You got to make sure that you can communicate. Maybe that's also what Dr. Fred was spectacular for me in terms of how to communicate situationally to different types of people. So, for example, you're hanging out with your obsessed sisters and brothers, and you start playing games where, all right, a person comes into your office with this type of scenario. How would you communicate to that person? So, there's like a free flow, natural type of conversation. You're not coming in with some type of rigid, robotic script, a one size fits all. So I would say you got to play with communication, learn different forms of communication.
Yeah. Absolutely. So number 1, hands-on. Number 2, I would say, was read. Dr. Jeremy mentioned a lot of books, a lot of different people in his life, and a lot of different literature that he relied on to not only get, borderline dipped in philosophy, but also learn your science. Tap into books. Also tap into practice management books, right? Like James Chestnut's wellness program. That's a great book. That's a great freaking book. And he's got 4 of them. So get all 4 if you want, but you got to learn to read and start being a student of chiropractic in all of the senses, right? In all of either literature, right? Or not either, but in literature, in hands-on, you got to be doing both. Number 3, I put down get mentors. It can be physical mentors. It can be virtual mentors, right? As Dr. Jeremy and I are right now, we're virtual mentors to you. We are providing you with value and content that you wouldn't otherwise have without this conversation taking place here on the internet. So take what you want from this conversation. It's completely free, right? And then apply it to your life. And then the fourth thing that Dr. Jeremy just added on was communication. You got to know how to talk to people. And at the Legendary Chiropractor, we always break it down into specific people. But I would break it down into just two people for the sake of time. And number one is you got to be able to talk science-y. You got to be able to talk to the people who are going to come in, push you on the research, push you on what you do, and also want to have you, they want you to have all the answers, right? But then you're going to have those people that you're going to communicate with that just want to be in your office and want chiropractic, right? And they don't want you to talk past anything that they already know or believe in, because then you've completely lost, like you've lost them and you've lost their interest, and their interest is not sparked or engaged anymore. So those four things I would definitely say, and I'll go back to one of them that you said earlier on, and that was the science, right? You started talking about neuroanatomy and neurology and understanding the nervous system. And what we say is make science applicable. Right? When you lay your hands on somebody, understand what you are contacting, what structures are running through it, what tissues you are going through, and what you will be impacting if you are to deliver a force, right? So it's so important to understand that. Like, you might think biochemistry is just a bunch of gibberish right now, but if you understand the Krebs cycle and digestion, and you know where the nerves go, and you go back, they all go back to the spine, and the spinal cord goes back to the brain. And if you know that, right, and you can start reconnecting some of these things in your mind before laying your hands on somebody, I think that's extremely powerful. So, Doc, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about what doctors should be doing and how to maintain training as you are a practicing chiropractor, because some people who have been out 20, 30 years might be doing everything the same, and they might be, injury might be knocking on their door. So we are going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about your program, your adjusting seminars, and where people can find out more details about you. So everyone, we will be right back. Stay tuned. Dr. Stu Hoffman, founder and president of CHIRO Secure Malpractice Insurance, is the foremost expert in both risk management and risk avoidance. Understanding the everyday challenges of today's practicing chiropractor and the current public perception of chiropractic has made CHIRO Secure the fastest growing malpractice insurance program of the last 28 years. Find out more at chirosecure.com. Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Rock on. Welcome back to the Legendary Chiropractor, everybody. This is a phenomenal episode and has been a phenomenal episode, and I hope you've enjoyed it so far. If you're just joining us, please hop back to the beginning and watch this over, because we've dropped a ton of content on what students, and we're going to get into docs here, can do to not only understand the art of chiropractic a little bit better, but how to really surround yourself with the right people, the right resources to get the art and the craft of chiropractic down for you individually. So, Doc, talk to us about what doctors can do in practice, out of practice, and you talked a little bit about probably what they can do in regards to their morning routine and stuff like that, and checking in with themselves. But I feel like a lot of docs who have been out 20, 30 years, I said it before the break, kind of have injury we're pretty much waiting to knock on the door. But how do we make sure we prevent that and stay in the best chiropractic shape as we possibly can?
I'll be straight to the point. You have to continually force adaptation upon your body and mind otherwise you stay stagnant. And if you stay stagnant, then you ain't growing, you know. I don't want to say that you have to stimulate your body or agitate your body, but you've got to constantly stimulate, agitate your body. You got to create like these little neurological inputs, whether it's, you know, balancing on an endo board with a barbell over your head, and you're just shocking your system. So with regards to adjusting, if you've been out for 20 plus years, and I've taught seminars where we have docs who have been out even longer than I have been out, showing back up to the seminars, refining their skills, you know, stressing their body. And by the way, you know, talk about like being in a stressful situation and a humbling situation where you're now in a room with other people and getting critiqued on your adjustments. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, for docs who have been out in the field, look, you got to stress your body. If you're not stressing your body, whether it's your ankles, whether it's your knees, whether it's your spine, whether it's your shoulders, whether it's your speed, whether it's your balance, then how can you expect yourself to get stronger, to evolve? There's a great book that I've read called Anti-Fragile. And it's one word, anti-fragile. And I have that in the back of my head that, you know, I've got a 5-month-old boy. I'm 46 and a half right now. I'll be 47 in a couple months. And I haven't had, thank God, I haven't had the downturn where I'm like, man, my energy sucks. My joints are starting to really hurt me. I'm noticing a slip and slide. I'm like, man, I could probably kick my ass as you know, a 30-year-old version of me. I think I could hold myself. I think I could bring it. And from a speed standpoint and an adjusting standpoint, I'm always working at it. When I'm with a person and I'm adjusting a person, I'm like showing up like it's like with the Michael Jordan mentality. So you either have like, or Kobe Bryant was actually at the Spinal Biodynamic and Visualization Seminar in Atlanta when I got that news with Kobe's passing. You know, I'm from LA. I got a number 8 jersey. I got the number. I don't have a 24, but you know, I like that Mamba mentality. So if you show up ready to deliver the goods with this mentality, the Mamba mentality, or you're on this path of mastery, not as a master going, I've arrived with my black belt, but you kind of like go, I'm a blue belt. If you're doing jiu-jitsu, white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, you know, you play the game like you're a blue belt. You're like hungry, you're thirsty for information. So you got to stress your neurology, you got to stress your physiology. And if you're not doing that with your relationships with your lover, then good luck. You know what I mean? So how do you stress your body in a positive manner? And ultimately it comes down to this. Here's the formula, here's the recipe. You know, those forces and the loads and the inputs and the signals and the shapes that you interact with on a regular basis, it's called like epigenetics, becomes a new version of you. Mm-hmm. If you just have stagnated, you know, inputs, you're going to be stagnated. So I would look for other areas that can kind of like create this hormetic response.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great thing. And great advice. And I like how you said it, continually force adaptation, because a lot of times we don't like change. We're humans, right? We don't like change, but here's the thing. When you get stagnant, when you get complacent, right? It's like a rusty car, or it's like a car that just sits there. It's going to die, and it's going to degenerate, and it's going to do so faster. So if we are to do that to our own bodies, our own vehicles, what's going to happen, right? Or if you're going to do the same thing this every single time, right, for 20, 30, 40 years, right? And and you lose that hungriness, you lose that hunger and that ability to adapt, or that want and that need to adapt, all of the sudden we have injuries coming on the scene, we have illness coming on the scene, and we have all of this trickle-down effect that we start to see from that. And I would say that one of the things you said was, and I will put the word floss in front of it, you have to floss your mind and your body, meaning you have to read new literature, understand new science. You have to train harder and in new ways, like you said, on the Indo board with a barbell over your head. And if you don't follow Dr. Jeremy Brook on, if you don't follow Dr. Jeremy on Instagram, you're way behind. It is a phenomenal time, and I'll see one of his time lapse videos, and I'll be like, what? Like, what are you doing? But it's amazing, right? And it's amazing what the human body can do if we push it to those limits. Because when we push it to those limits, we certainly find out a lot of times that there are no limitations, except of, matter. But our mind can oftentimes push past that. So I don't know if you've heard of, like, hey, everyone in the room raise their hand, right? And it's like as high as you can. So then people raise their hand, and then they're like, now give it a little more, right? And everybody can go a little bit more, right? They can give a little bit more. They can do a little bit more. So I urge you, I honestly urge you to challenge your mind, challenge your body, and continually change and adapt. Doc, do you have any last things to say, any closing remarks to say to students, to docs? I want you to be able to talk about SpineCheckerUniversity.com as well as the yoga of chiropractic. So please tell us a little bit about these programs you got going, because I know you got a lot of cool things rocking and rolling in your world right now.
Yeah, I created Spine Checker University, which is just a collection of courses and programs and maybe a book that I felt, number one, was beneficial for me to help me gain a deeper understanding of what the heck this thing called chiropractic is all about, and ultimately how I could help serve other people. So I wrote a book 10 years ago called The Spine Checkers Manifesto, and it really was a book that was for the people that I was adjusting, and I really wanted to just give them a book and say, yo, read this book. It's going to give you a beautiful introduction to the healing process. And I kind of like slid in chiropractic philosophy with yoga. There's always going to be a chiropractic and yoga kind of like a integration for me. And I have movement and breathing and stretching and strengthening sequences mixed with the 33 principles, mixed with epigenetics, mixed with metaphysics. So basically I can give them a nice fat book and on their like second visit when they begin care with me. So, but other young chiropractors have really enjoyed it too. It's definitely not as difficult to comprehend as a old school green book. And then there's the Wise Progressions, which is like a dynamic yogic movement sequence. It's one of those things that we teach all of the people who come into the Life Center of Chiropractic. So look, you're going to get a beautiful, elegant, exquisite chiropractic adjustment, and then we're going to teach you very specific movement sequences to make sure that your proprioception is dialed in. Again, kind of like forcing adaptation. You give somebody a glorious adjustment, you say, peace out, have a great day, and Nate's on the job. But the way that I look at it, you give a person adjustment and you take a person through an exquisite choreography through their spinal articulations, and now they have a new relationship with stress and tension. All right? And that's the name of the game. People have stress. They don't know how to deal with the stress. Tension develops, can't smooth out that tension. Now you're starting to deal with like chronic contracted positions that then manifest as subluxations. So we're just trying to play the game of subluxation, minimization, subluxation, mitigation. And so that's what the Wise Progressions is all about. And if you want to just go kind of like nuts, then you dive into another program called the Spine Checkers Anatomy of the Spine, where I take you on this kind of like journey from the skull all the way down to the sacrum, and kind of like give you like an origin story of every single bone, from exploring different types of anatomy, occult anatomy, sacred anatomy, just good old-fashioned biomechanics, bring in some martial arts, bring in some Eastern concepts of how they look at different areas of the body. So that was actually a 2-day course, but we consolidated it into an online program. And then recently, COVID-19 kind of bombed the first couple release dates of the adjusting seminar, the Yoga of Chiropractic, where I pretty much like leveraged yoga's sacred step-by-step approach with its subtle energetic and alignment principles to get the chiropractor aligned to the to the centers within their hand and their heart and their head and their spine, and then combine that with chiropractic's like renowned biomechanical specificity, and basically to help people deliver adjustments with concentrated focus, and I'll call it harnessed speed. Sometimes adjustments are just kind of like looking like, man, they're just blasting into people's bodies, so we want to kind of like hone that down and also make it like fluid, and then bring some results to the table. And as far as I'm concerned, like results would be the number of lives changed or saved, you will. Nothing better than like we kind of like take it for granted, where they're like, oh my God, had I never experienced this, man, I would be in a completely different zone. So I'm just super pumped with the Yoga of Chiropractic, because basically I've taken the classical yogic philosophy. There's many different paths with regards to yoga, but I took classical old school Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, and I docked it straight on top of the philosophy, science, and art of chiropractic, and those two just like interlock, interweave. They're fully interconnected. I mean, we can go off, but yoga is pretty, an 8-limb discipline ultimately, to get you to this place of samadhi, which is complete immersion and oneness with the universe. And you'll need another podcast just to talk about that, but that's like one of those things that chiropractic has had as one of its goals, this reunification of spiritual man with physical man. Well, like, what the heck were we talking about? Are we talking about like the highest vibrational state that a human being can occupy? I mean, we're not even talking about getting rid of back pain or neck pain, but by going through the niyama, the yamas and the niyamas of yoga, the don't do this, don't do that, so that we could spit wisdom upon our patients to teach them about the knowledge of the human body. And then you got the third branch of yoga, which is asana, which are the shapes, which are the postures, which are the poses, which are energetic in nature. And we know we got the Palmer. I went to Palmer West. We had the Palmer pose, but the Palmer pose isn't just a static pose. It's like fully alive, or like you set up like Gonstead. You know what I mean? That's from the feet all the way up to the head, and then you link it with the fourth limb, which is pranayama, which is breath control. Prana is life force. You know what I mean? Like, you think chiropractors are interested with the transmission of life force? So and then you got pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Pratyahara is sense withdrawal. Moving the outside environment, start hone in. You got the dharana, which is intense concentration, the dhyana, which is meditation, and now boom, you're completely lined up, and that's where you want to be to deliver a fantastic, specific, scientific chiropractic adjustment. As far as samadhi goes, when you're adjusting, I mean, you're blacked out if you're in samadhi while you're adjusting. Freaking the universe, or maybe you adjust somebody and they evaporate into white light because you're so dialed in. I never had that experience. I've had some cool experiences with chiropractic, but at the end of the day, I just want to help students become more sensitive, more specific with regards to their adjustment, transform their body into this incredible shape, this energetic vehicle, Yeah, so it's kind of like the new kid on the block. You've had MLS, you've got Chiro culture, you've got Syntropy, you've got the Tao of chiropractic, you've got Pneuma chiropractic, you've got Focus OKC, you've got all of these tremendous adjusting training programs. I might have forgotten a couple other ones, but the yoga of chiropractic is the new kid on the block, and I'm definitely not going to be covering material that is already out there, because why would I want to duplicate another adjusting seminar for the sake of duplicating? It's kind of like, why would chiropractic want to be any other profession but chiropractic? Why would we duplicate another profession when there's already another profession for doing that? You want to treat disease? There's other people that want to treat disease. You want to light somebody up, you want to line their spine up, you want to optimize the motion in their body so they're exploding with energy. Like, let's talk. That's called chiropractic.
Amen. Mic drop. I love it, Doc. Great to have you on the show, Doc. I really appreciate you being here. I have the link on the screen right now, SpineCheckerUniversity.com. Again, that's SpineCheckerUniversity.com, and you can find everything that Dr. Jeremy is up to and creating constantly for you guys, as he just went through kind of what you'll learn at his seminar, his upcoming seminar, when things kind of go back to normal. It sounds absolutely riveting and really fun. And I know a lot of people were looking forward to the first one, and then we had to, change some things due to this whole craziness. But when it comes out, I'm sure it is going to be absolutely epic. And I'll have to be attending one for sure. But please head to SpineCheckerUniversity.com to just, follow him. Follow him on Instagram, follow him on Facebook. And if you type in Spine Checker pretty much anywhere on any social media platform, you will find Dr. Jeremy, which is phenomenal. And also, please be sure to go to Legendary Chiropractor or LegendaryChiro.com now or later today and become a member for free. You'll get all of our past podcast episodes. You'll get all of our past YouTube videos. You'll get all of our blogs, content. I mean, I can't name everything on there, but it's absolutely incredible. And of course, we have a seminar board, job board, mission trip board, and all those things that you can look forward to as well. So head to legendarychiro.com now, head to SpineCheckerUniversity.com, and check out everything that Dr. Jeremy is up to. I appreciate every single one of you, Doc. I really, really thank you for your time, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you for being here.
One last thing. Thank you, man. You kick butt. Thank you for doing this for our profession. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely, Doc. I appreciate those very kind words. Thank you so much. Peace, everyone. Have a great day.